princess and heard Lewis crying before she even knew what had happened. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, she entered the room expecting a minor family disagreement. But one sentence from Lewis changed her expression completely, and turned toward Camilla and said, "You need to leave, now." But the real shock wasn't that, and ordered Camilla out. It was what Lewis said had happened moments earlier. Before we reveal what brought Lewis to tears, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments, which city are you watching from? And heard the crying before anyone told her something was wrong. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, what had begun as a quiet family gathering suddenly felt very different, and stepped into the adjoining room. William was already there. He was crouched beside Lewis, speaking quietly while trying to calm him. Across the room stood Camilla, silent, uncomfortable, and unusually unwilling to meet Anne's eyes, and immediately knew something had happened. "What is going on?" Nobody answered. William continued talking softly to Lewis. Camilla finally said, "It was a misunderstanding," and looked at her. "What was?" Another silence. That irritated Anne. She wasn't interested in palace language or carefully chosen explanations. She wanted to know why Lewis was crying. Then Lewis leaned toward William and whispered something. William's expression changed. And heard enough. She turned toward Camilla. "You told him that?" Camilla immediately tried to explain, and raised her hand. "Not yet." William stood. He wasn't shouting either. That somehow made the room feel even more tense. "Where is it?" he asked. Camilla said the item was safe. Nothing had been thrown away. Nothing had been damaged. But Lewis heard only one thing. It had been taken from him, and moved closer. She had initially assumed there had been an argument. Perhaps Camilla had corrected Lewis. Perhaps voices had been raised. But that wasn't what happened. Nobody had shouted at him. The tears had started after Camilla removed a small, personal possession Lewis had brought into the room. To Camilla, it apparently didn't belong there. To Lewis, it belonged somewhere far more important. And looked toward him. What did she say? Lewis wiped his face, then quietly repeated the words. Camilla had told him he couldn't keep it there anymore. Anne's expression hardened, because she suddenly realized this wasn't about an ordinary child's possession. There was a reason Lewis couldn't simply let it go, and went and discovered who had originally given it to him. The entire confrontation was about to change. Anne's attention shifted immediately. What exactly did you take from him? Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, Camilla insisted she hadn't confiscated anything. She had simply removed a small, personal object from the formal room and asked that it be stored somewhere safer. To her, it had been routine. To Lewis, it clearly wasn't. William looked toward Camilla. "Where is it?" "With the staff." "It's perfectly safe." "Then bring it back." Camilla hesitated and noticed. "Why can't he have it?" Camilla explained that preparations were underway for a formal family gathering. Personal belongings had been cleared from several visible areas. The object Lewis had brought didn't fit the setting. Anne's expression hardened. "He's a child, Camilla, not part of the furniture." William remained focused on Lewis. "What was it?" Lewis finally answered. "A small keepsake. Nothing expensive. Nothing anyone outside the family would consider important." Camilla seemed almost relieved. "Exactly. It hasn't been damaged." But William's face changed, because he recognized the description. Was it the one from the box? Lewis nodded, and looked between them. "What box?" William didn't answer immediately. Instead, he asked Lewis another question. "Who told you that you could keep it?" Lewis looked at his father, then quietly gave him the answer. William closed his eyes for a moment. Camilla's expression changed too. She suddenly realized there was a history attached to the object that nobody had explained to her, and stepped closer. "Who gave it to him?" William finally answered. "Not Camilla, not Charles." The keepsake had come through William, carrying a story connected to someone Lewis knew mostly through photographs and family memories, and understood before William finished. And suddenly Camilla hadn't merely removed something from a room. To Lewis, she had removed a piece of family memory, and turned toward Camilla. But before she could speak, William asked the question that mattered more. "Where did you put it?" Camilla gave the location. A staff member went to retrieve it. Minutes later, he returned empty-handed. The keepsake wasn't there. The staff member returned without the keepsake. William stood immediately. What do you mean it isn't there? Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, Camilla looked genuinely confused. She had personally watched the item being removed from the room. It should have been placed with the other belongings being cleared before the gathering, and wasn't interested in excuses. You took something from Louis, and now nobody knows where it is? Camilla's expression hardened. I didn't take it from him to hurt him. Then why take it at all? Camilla finally explained. Earlier that morning, instructions had been circulated requesting that several formal rooms be cleared of unnecessary personal objects before guests arrived. Photographs had been repositioned, loose belongings removed, several private items placed into temporary storage. Camilla had seen Louis's keepsake and assumed it belonged with them, and stared at her. You could have asked William. Yes. Camilla paused. I should have. That admission softened nothing. Louis was still upset, and now the object carrying the family memory couldn't even be found. William asked who had issued the original instruction. Camilla hesitated, and caught it immediately. You didn't decide this yourself? Not entirely. That changed the confrontation. Camilla explained that she had been following a broader request from Charles's household to prepare the rooms for the formal event. William frowned. My father ordered Louis's things removed? No. Camilla shook her head. He ordered the room cleared. I decided what that included. There was the mistake. Charles had apparently issued a general instruction. Camilla had interpreted it. Louis had suffered the consequence. Then a second staff member entered. The missing keepsake had been located, but not where anyone expected. It had been placed inside a storage box containing older royal possessions. William's face changed immediately, and noticed. What? William looked toward the box being carried into the room. Because if Louis's keepsake had been mixed with those particular possessions, there was suddenly a reason it might have looked familiar to Camilla. And went and learned what connected that small object to Diana. The argument was about to become far more personal. The storage box was placed on the table. William opened it himself. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, Louis's keepsake should have been sitting on top. It wasn't. William removed one item, then another. Old photographs, small personal possessions, objects that had apparently been moved during the preparations. But no keepsake. Camilla stepped closer. It was put in that box. William looked at her. Then where is it? Louis was still watching from across the room. That was when William's patience finally began to disappear. This wasn't about monetary value. It wasn't even about whether Camilla had made the wrong decision. His son had been told he couldn't keep something important to him, and now the palace couldn't find it, and turned toward the staff. Who moved this box? One member of staff explained that it had been transferred after Camilla left the room. Another person had then separated some of the contents because several objects appeared to belong to different collections. William immediately caught that. Separated where? Nobody knew exactly. Camilla looked genuinely alarmed now. She hadn't expected any of this. Then another staff member appeared at the doorway. He had found a second box. William opened it. Nothing. Then, and noticed a smaller wrapped object underneath, an old photograph. She reached toward it. William stopped her. I know that photograph. He lifted it carefully. The image was connected to Diana, and underneath it sat the missing keepsake. Louis immediately recognized it. There! William picked it up. Safe. Undamaged. Louis's relief was immediate. But wasn't looking at Louis anymore. She was looking at William. Because the keepsake and Diana's photograph hadn't simply ended up beside each other by accident. William had originally taken the small object from a collection of family possessions associated with memories of his mother. Camilla went completely silent. She finally understood. This wasn't some random toy Louis refused to surrender. It represented a grandmother he had never been able to meet. And when Camilla told Louis it didn't belong here, he hadn't heard a comment about a formal room. He thought she meant something else entirely. That Diana didn't belong there either. Camilla didn't defend herself. Not this time. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, she stared at the small keepsake in William's hand and finally understood why Louis had reacted so strongly. I didn't know. William looked at her. You didn't know what? That it had anything to do with Diana. The room went quiet, and watched Camilla carefully. William explained that the object wasn't valuable in the traditional sense. No diamonds, no extraordinary price, nothing a museum would necessarily place behind glass. Its value came from the story attached to it. William had once shown Lewis a collection of family possessions connected to memories of Diana. Lewis had been fascinated. He had never met his grandmother. Everything he knew about her came through photographs, stories, and the memories William shared with his children. Eventually, William had allowed Lewis to keep one small item as a personal reminder. To an adult, it was just an object. To Lewis, it was proof that someone he'd never met was still part of his family. Camilla looked toward him. Her expression softened, then and asked the question nobody had addressed. "What exactly did you say when you took it?" Camilla hesitated. "I said it didn't belong there." William's expression changed. There it was. Camilla had meant the formal room. Lewis had heard something completely different and looked toward Camilla. "You understand what he thought you meant?" Camilla nodded slowly. For the first time, she looked genuinely shaken. She hadn't intended to erase Diana. She hadn't even known the connection existed. But intention didn't change what Lewis had heard. William returned the keepsake to his son. Lewis held it tightly. Then Camilla stepped forward. She wanted to explain, and immediately moved between them. Not yet. Camilla stopped, because and still didn't know the whole story. Camilla hadn't invented the instruction to clear the room. Someone else had started this chain of events. And moments later, Charles entered carrying the original household order. He looked at Anne, then at William, and said, "Before you blame Camilla for all of this, you need to know who gave the first instruction." Charles held up the household order for the first time and stopped looking at Camilla. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, Charles had entered expecting to calm a misunderstanding. Instead, he found Lewis upset, William furious, and Camilla being blamed for removing something connected to Diana. Charles placed the document on the table. "The instruction came from my household." William frowned. "You ordered Lewis's things removed?" "No." Charles pointed to the wording. The instruction was simple. Before the formal gathering, certain rooms were to be cleared of loose personal belongings and prepared for guests. Photographs, boxes, informal objects, anything considered unsuitable for the official setting. Camilla looked toward Anne. "That's what I was following," and wasn't convinced. "The order didn't tell you to take something from a child." "No," Camilla admitted. "That decision was mine. That mattered." Charles had created the situation. Camilla had interpreted the instruction too broadly. And Lewis had misunderstood what Camilla meant when she said his keepsake didn't belong there. William looked at his father. So nobody knew what that object meant to him. Charles shook his head. "I certainly didn't." The anger in the room began shifting. This wasn't looking like a deliberate attack on Diana's memory. It was becoming a chain of mistakes. But, and still wasn't satisfied. She turned toward Camilla. "You saw him become upset. Why didn't you immediately give it back?" Camilla went quiet. That hesitation brought the tension straight back. William noticed. "So, there was something else." Camilla looked toward Lewis, then toward Charles. She admitted that when Lewis protested, she had tried to explain why the object couldn't remain in the formal room. But in frustration, she had added another sentence. One she now wished she could take back. Anne's expression hardened. "What did you say?" Camilla didn't answer. William already knew, because Lewis had quietly repeated those words to him earlier. And suddenly, Anne understood. It wasn't removing the keepsake that had truly broken Lewis down. It was what Camilla said when he asked for it back. William had heard the sentence already, and hadn't. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, Camilla had removed the keepsake, believing she was clearing a formal room. But when Lewis asked for it back, Camilla had apparently responded, "Some things simply don't belong in this part of the house." To Camilla, she meant the object. To Lewis, those words landed differently. He knew the keepsake represented Diana. He knew it had come from memories William had shared about his mother. So Lewis asked a question nobody expected. "Does Grandma Diana not belong here either?" The room went silent. William had immediately tried to explain, but Lewis was already upset, and finally understood why the tears had come so quickly. This wasn't really about losing an object. A child had connected Camilla's careless sentence to the grandmother he knew only through stories, and turned toward Camilla. You heard him ask that? Camilla nodded. And what did you say? Nothing. That answer made an even angrier. Camilla quickly explained. She hadn't stayed silent because she agreed. She had been stunned by the question. She hadn't even known the object was connected to Diana. And saw the problem. You should have corrected it immediately. Camilla lowered her voice. I know. Then she looked toward Louis. Let me explain it to him now. And stepped forward. No. Charles intervened. William didn't. For several seconds, everyone waited for him. Then William surprised them. Let her speak. And turned sharply. William explained that Louis shouldn't leave the room believing something that wasn't true. If Camilla had meant the room rather than Diana, Louis deserved to hear that directly from her. Camilla slowly approached. She didn't ask Louis to forget what happened. She didn't blame the staff. She simply crouched down and looked at the keepsake in his hands. Then Louis asked her one question. Do you want me to put it away because it's hers? Camilla's face changed, because her answer now mattered far more than any palace instruction. And what she said next, even and wasn't expecting. Camilla looked at the keepsake in Louis's hands. Then she answered him directly. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, there was no palace language this time. No explanation about protocol. No discussion of formal rooms. Just one answer. No, I would never ask you to hide it because it belonged to her. Louis looked toward William, then back at Camilla. Then why did you take it? Camilla paused. Because I made a mistake. Anne's expression changed slightly. Camilla explained that she had seen an object sitting in a room being prepared for a formal gathering. She hadn't known its history. She hadn't known William had given it to Louis. And she certainly hadn't understood what her words would sound like to a child who associated that object with Diana. I meant it didn't belong in that room today. Camilla pointed toward the keepsake. I never meant that she didn't belong in your family. William remained silent. This was Camilla's explanation to give. Then Louis asked the simplest question of all. Can I keep it? Camilla answered immediately. Of course. But she didn't stop there. She turned toward the staff. The instruction to remove personal object from the room was canceled where children's family keepsakes were concerned. If something mattered personally to George, Charlotte, or Louis, nobody would move it again without asking their parents first. Charles looked surprised, and did too. Camilla was effectively admitting the decision had been hers, and that it had been wrong. Then she looked at William. I should have asked you. William nodded. Yes. No dramatic vergifnis. No instant resolution. Just acknowledgement. Louis held the keepsake closer. The tension finally began to ease. And still hadn't forgotten what happened when she first entered that room. She had ordered Camilla away before knowing the complete story. Charles turned toward his sister. Now you know what happened. And looked at Camilla, then at Louis. Charles asked the question everyone was waiting for. Do you still want her to leave? Anne's answer came immediately, and it surprised Camilla most of all, and didn't answer Charles immediately. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, she looked first at Louis. He was calm now. The keepsake was back in his hands. Then, and looked at Camilla. Do I still want her to leave? Camilla waited. No. Charles seemed relieved. And wasn't finished. That doesn't mean what happened was acceptable. Camilla nodded. She didn't argue, and explained why she had reacted so quickly. When she entered the room, she hadn't seen a debate about palace protocol. She had seen Louis crying, William trying to comfort him, and Camilla standing beside an empty space where something important had apparently been taken away, and had acted before she understood the full story. But now the facts looked different. Charles's household had ordered the room cleared. Camilla had interpreted that instruction too broadly. She had no idea the keepsake carried a connection to Diana, and the sentence that upset Louis had meant something entirely different from what he believed. A mistake? Yes. Deliberate cruelty? And could no longer say that. William finally spoke. The problem wasn't just the object, and nodded. It was assuming something insignificant to an adult couldn't be important to a child. Camilla looked toward Louis. I understand that now. Then she did something and hadn't expected. Camilla asked Louis where he wanted the keepsake kept. Louis pointed toward the place from which it had originally been removed. Camilla looked at the staff. Put it back. Nobody moved. Camilla corrected herself. No. She looked toward Louis. You put it back. Lewis walked over and returned it himself, and watched silently. The confrontation appeared finished. Then Charles turned toward his sister. "You told Camilla to leave because you thought she had hurt him deliberately," and looked at Charles. "No." Her answer surprised everyone. "That isn't why I told her to leave." Camilla frowned. "Then why?" and glanced toward Lewis. And what she said next revealed that her intervention had never really been about Camilla at all, and looked at Charles, then at Camilla. Within this fictional, dramatized royal scenario, everyone assumed and had ordered Camilla away because she believed Camilla had deliberately hurt Lewis. That wasn't the reason. "I wanted the adults out of the argument." Charles frowned and explained. When she entered the room, Lewis was already overwhelmed. William was trying to calm him. Camilla was defending what she had done. Staff were moving around searching for the missing keepsake. And within seconds, a child's distress was becoming another royal confrontation. And when it stopped, immediately, "I wasn't deciding who was guilty," she said. "I was stopping this from becoming bigger while he was standing in the middle of it." William understood. Lewis didn't need to hear adults arguing about Diana. He didn't need palace protocol explained to him. And he certainly didn't need his grandmother's memory turned into another battle between members of his family. Camilla looked toward Anne. "So you weren't throwing me out? I was removing you from the situation," and paused. "There's a difference." Camilla didn't particularly enjoy hearing it, but she understood. The keepsake was back. Lewis now knew Camilla hadn't meant that Diana didn't belong in his family. Camilla had admitted she should have asked before removing it, and William had made sure the misunderstanding was corrected. Charles finally relaxed, and had one final point. She looked around the room. "Don't make children carry arguments that belong to adults." Silence. That was the real reason she had intervened. Not revenge. Not Diana versus Camilla. Not another battle over royal hierarchy. And had seen Lewis crying and acted before anyone had even established who was right. And, ironically, that decision exposed the truth faster. Camilla hadn't deliberately tried to hurt Lewis. Lewis hadn't been crying over an ordinary possession, and hadn't truly been trying to exile Camilla. One careless sentence had simply collided with a family memory far more powerful than anyone realized. And by the end, the person Anne had been protecting wasn't Diana. It wasn't William. It was Lewis.